Okay, welcome back. And my guest is the Right Honorable Jokotola Pelumi, a former Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, in fact, the fifth Assembly, which goes back to 2020, a very close associate of not just Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but also top notchers in the APC there. So we're sort of leaning on his expertise, his knowledge, his closeness to say, what can Nigerians expect of a Tinubu presidency? And so far, he said, generally, he's a man of his word, and if he says it, you can go to the bank with it. You know, right? Did I paraphrase that well?
Yeah, you can go home with both eyes, go to sleep with both eyes shut.
With both eyes shut,
yeah.
You know. So it's like he's a man of his word. Now, he did quite a lot of things in Lagos. He transformed Lagos, not just when he was on there, he also put a sort of a worksheet on the ground so that even after him, whoever was coming didn't have to start from scratch.
There's a template.
Yes, there's a template.
Of corporate governance.
Exactly, there's a template. And there's the
10-point agenda.
Yes. Now, the thing is, he did great things in Lagos. Everybody has commented as much, and I've commended him for it. People have even come from some of the countries around us to study things like the BRT, for example.
Exactly.
How do you guys have it? We want to have it too. Let's see how it's working and all of that and all of that. And it was used, copiously during the campaign. That, in terms of track record, he's done this. And people used to say, that is from the opposition, would say, but Nigeria is not Lagos, So what would you say to that? Because we're looking at what to expect, and a lot of us would take the Lagos model, say that, look, if this is how he saw Lagos, which was where his legal authority was limited at the time, he did his damnedest for Lagos. He's now, can people look forward to those kind of, radical, radical in a good way, radical ideas up and down the land? Because, as you know, capabilities will differ. Financial capabilities will differ from place to place.
From region to region. Yeah. I quite accept that. You can expect that to happen. I used to say that if you put Ashwaju in the chair, expect fireworks. Fireworks in so many areas, subsectors of the economy. Like you said, and at the risk of repeating what you said, he has done it in the past. If you take the power sector, for example, if Obasanjo had allowed Ashwaju to undertake and complete their own projects, we'll have electricity all over the place. This situation whereby for the 99th time since 2015, the national grid has collapsed, it wouldn't happen. Now, to not be able to replicate, Lagos is a mini Nigeria. And that may sound like a cliche, but it's very
because
true.
People used to say that a lot. And when you say a mini Nigeria, you're talking about the complexity of the problems that have to be addressed with surgical precision, that kind of a thing?
Yeah. In a country, let me put it this way, in a country bristling with such bewildering diversity, you may begin to think that will it be possible for him to undertake that throughout the country? There's a template. Apply the template point for point, region for region as you go along, but at the risk of being compromised because of different variables and different communities, that will always happen. But if you were to judiciously implement what Ashwaju put on ground in Lagos State, and which successive governors in Lagos State had effectuated, you find that it can happen. It's a matter of the depth of politics and the wherewithal to do it. That's all it takes, is a wherewithal to do it. And he always says, look, if you want it to happen, deepen your politics. Deepen your politics and curry the favors and the friendship and the fellowship of everybody who's involved. Maybe not everybody who will partake in the benefits of that effort or that policy, but at least the ones who knows that this will make things happen for them. When you curry the favor and put them, all of them in a basket, they say the sky is the limit. The sky is no longer the limit. You can go beyond the sky to get to the point that you aspire to get to. So because the economy is bad now, people will say, but it is bad now, and it's the badness is rising, but it doesn't have to be our future.
Indeed.
It doesn't have to be a future.
Indeed.
We're on a macroeconomy, single income economy, oil economy, and we keep saying, let us diversify, let us diversify. It doesn't end there. Diversify with, you have the kind of orientation, the wherewithal to do the diversification. And that is what we have to continue to search for, the depth of politics and the wherewithal to be able to undertake that diversification. Because opportunities abound. There's so many opportunities, so many ways by which you can get from point A to point Z. There are 26 characters in the English alphabet. From 1 to 24, 1 to 26, you should be able to find an answer in there. Right. That's Ashwaju's attitude, and that's what he's always told us. 26 characters.
Let's look at the other aspect of the man. As busy as he's going to be locally, I mean domestically, any president, and Ashwaju will not be an exception, has to have a foreign policy face. So I'm really now going into the area of speculation. What would you, knowing him, what would you expect his foreign policy to be like? Of course, he's going to have a Minister of Foreign Affairs,
exactly.
But he'll be working to an idea, a program, a plan by Ashwaju. Kamala Harris was, in a couple of countries the other day trying to sell to Africa.
She was in Ghana.
She was in Ghana. Yeah. The whole way of life, the alternative way of life they have over there. I think she was trying to see if she could sell that to some people. She didn't come to Nigeria.
No.
I'm happy about that.
Well, deliberately.
Yes, maybe
for very obvious reasons.
Maybe even deliberately.
It is deliberate.
So this whole new wave of attitude that the Americans, even the British, even the West are generally trying to
push down our throats.
Push down our throats. Yeah, I like it. You're taking the words out of my mouth, but I accept them. I didn't want to go. So what is Ashwaju's attitude to those kind of...
Stoic. Ashwaju is a stoic person. He's... let me put it this way. He has what you can call official development assistance in his pocket. And when I say official development assistance, those who knows. His connections all over the world it's unquantifiable in any terms. It's unquantifiable. He's going to use that, bring that to bear upon his attitude to foreign policy issues. And like you said, the eggheads in the foreign ministry which can tap on. The other point, which you should take note of is that he's highly steeped in corporate governance. And being steeped in that direction opens a window, a very wide window for him to undertake consultations from people who should know and advise him properly.
Okay.
The man then sits down overnight and undertakes a careful scrutiny of all that has been put before him. Whatever the issues are, foreign issues, domestic, whatever, But we're talking about foreign issues now.
Yes.
He doesn't know it all. He knows them very well. He was a part of them. He's been cahooting with them for an appreciable length of time. So he knows how to handle them. So it's a matter of orientation, and he has the wherewithal and the orientation to do it.
Indeed. I would imagine that myself. But then look at how popular Barack Obama was. Probably still is. But at the end of the day, Barack Obama, but for the fact that he's an American, you look at him as a black man, what he allowed in terms of the alternative lifestyle, nobody would have thought he would go there just by looking at him.
Exactly.
Just by looking at him.
Yeah,
and I know you shouldn't judge your book by its covers and all of that.
No.
But it was surprising that at the end of the day, he had to come around.
He was just being politically right.
Just being politically correct.
Yes, just being politically correct.
But it had the force of law.
The force of law to do it, to militate against it?
The policies that he didn't stand up against,
okay.
Now have the force of law. A man can marry a man, a woman can marry a woman.
In different jurisdictions in the United States, there are 50 states, mind you. Not all the states, have the law to back up that. And like you said, will you imagine an African man, accepting that kind of you can't sell that to us, you can't shove it down our throat. It's not going to happen. We'll never let it happen.
But it's a changing world. It's a changing world.
Changing world.
And you find people. First of all, when you see how they're going on about it in the West, you think it's a joke that you should laugh at. But then you look at them and you see that no, they're being dead serious. It's not a joke.
Serious
These
about
people are very, very serious about these notions that the African just can't fathom or interpret or even understand.
Exactly. They won't take it in. You begin to wonder, they are serious about it, but not all of them are serious about it.
But Ashwaji Tinubu is not a man who is about to say, okay, in the interest of them, let's look at that.
Will Ashwaji entertain LGBTQ?
Yeah.
It's the last thing that will happen. That's the last thing that will happen. I mean, it's not part of our orientation.
It isn't.
It is not part of our background. It is not part of our education. And when all those three variables are integrated, excuse me, you do the right thing. Your background, your education, formal or informal, your exposure, integrate all three. You do the right thing. And that's what you do.
So it's not going to happen.
It is not going to happen. Not in this neck of the woods.
Just like other presidents are saying, the president of Kenya has been quite vocal, of Sudan has been quite vocal, saying absolutely not.
No, exactly.
Don't even waste breath on it.
Don't perish the thoughts. Perish the thoughts.
But these are people these are countries and people and presidents that are otherwise valuable and highly regarded by Nigeria, except for this one flaw. So might that complicate matters, for instance? That, look, generally we value, the fellowship of fellow world leaders around the world. But if England is saying it's okay, America is saying it's okay, all these other important places are saying it's okay, and they have to deal with us, and might try to use that as something of a trump card.
To deal with us? No. You see, we have a pride of place in the Committee of Nations, speaking about Nigeria generally. And the quality of his leadership over the years, you may say it's not been entirely, comfortable, but there have been quality men have led this country. But there are so many issues to grapple with that makes it near impossible for them to meet the yearnings of the people. This issue you were talking about, no president that's ever passed through the presidents in this country will entertain it. I don't think so. Obasanjo will entertain this. This is the last thing that will happen. Yar'Adua, staunch Muslim, will he entertain it? Or Goodluck Jonathan will entertain it? I doubt it. So no, and I don't even assure you who you can say is the socialite, as it were. He
won't go there.
He won't go
just
there.
Doesn't
perish
fit.
the thoughts.
It just
won't happen.
Fit.
So if they want to use it as a leverage on us, that is not even going to happen because Nigeria is, like I said, sprawling, bristling with such bewildering diversities, and has great potentials in the Committee of for itself and in the Committee of Nations. They won't even think about it because a problem in Nigeria will reverberate throughout the entire West African coast, And once that happens, it begins to percolate into Central Africa and South Africa and all that, They don't want that to happen, so they wouldn't want to deal with Nigeria. This is the last thing that they'll think about. I'm open to the view, though. I'm open to the view that they make an attempt to hand twist us, but he can hold his own. Ashwaji can hold his own.
Okay, let's quickly just talk about something else. It's been on every Nigerian's mind, every Nigerian president's mind for quite a long while, the fight against corruption. President Buhari, he promised us. So very briefly, because we've almost run out of time, what do you think his attitude is going to be towards that fight? Because Nigerians are complaining that President Muhammadu Buhari, much as he has done, has not done enough for them.
They said corruption is going to fight back when he started out. Corruption is on the rise. It is rising year in, year out, decade in, decade out. But it doesn't have to be a future. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be our future. Plug all the loopholes, and undertake a massive reorientation of people. It starts from you and I. A massive overhaul, a complete overhaul of the orientation of people. That look exactly, and then it will happen. It's something that's going to happen overnight.
Because people feel it's so entrenched. Corruption is so entrenched that if you were to go there, so to speak, so many. Obasanjo, going back to Obasanjo, he said he didn't care whose ox will be God. We all saw the result of that.
Exactly.
So here we are again. So I was asking, do you think with Ashwaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we can expect that problem to be sort of re-engaged with?
Exactly. When I said that he's going to undertake a massive overhaul of the orientation of people, orientation in aspects of corruption, for example. And he understands one thing, and that is that everything that you've ever learned, either by way of moral or aesthetic training, should stand you in good stead when it comes to issues of corruption.
Okay. Okay.
Nobody, you never, when you were growing up, your parents never told you to go and do something against the next person, which is not palatable, or go and take something that doesn't belong to you, or take more than your due or your worth in your work setting. It's not part of your orientation. And we need to go back to that kind of...
Bring those values back.
Bring those values back.
Dust them up.
Exactly.
And then put them in the right place.
Exactly.
So that's the kind of man that the man is.
That's the kind of man that he is. It's a matter of orientation. And that's what's going to happen. You will see.
Okay.
You keep your fingers crossed.
It's good enough for me.
He's not paying a tepid attitude or lip service to we're going to handle corruption. Okay. It's not our way of life.
Well, I want to thank you very much, Joko.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Right Honorable Joko Tola Pelumi, one-time member of the House of Assembly, not member, actually Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, the 5th Lagos State House of Assembly. Thank you very much for coming on our program.
Thank you for tolerating me.